An eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind. That was Gandhi. And this is AllMinucOne. My name is Bill. Please, if you like this kind of content, hit that like button, share, or subscribe. It helps me grow. If you'd like to see a live show every Wednesday night over at DLive, Ins Justify Memes, and we put the replays up on the Ins Justify the Memes on YouTube. Now, this live show is every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's a little bit more comical and laid back than what I'm presenting here now. So let's get into today's subject, riots of peace. Now, if we look at this quote from Gandhi, he got this idea from Christ. During the Roman Empire, one of the cruelest societies ever to exist, the Christians were constantly persecuted, and Christ told the church from the beginning that they were not to resist an evil or strong man. And so for 4 centuries nearly, Christians willingly went to their death, willingly. All you have to do is read about the great martyrs. Polycarp was one of the great early martyrs. He was actually a disciple of the Apostle John. You can read about his death. It is written about. It is a historical account. Justin Martyr was the first Christian apologist. He got the name Justin Martyr for his death. I mentioned Cyprian the other day. He was martyred himself. It was a common thing. Christians did not fight. They eventually did after the church became corrupted by marrying the government and becoming an evil institution. But that is a whole nother story. So let's get into today's subject matter. Excuse me. So this is Ben Shapiro. He says, this statement is vile. It doesn't take down the temperature, it raises it. It explicitly jumps to the conclusion in the absence of evidence. It's racial demagoguery of the highest order, and this is supposedly the man who will restore calm and normalcy to the country, and that is a response to Joe Biden on the shooting of Jacob Blake. Now, Jacob Blake has been charged with assault and rape, I believe 3rd-degree sexual assault, and may be a pedophile. But that no matter, entire cities are burning right now in his honor. So here we have Ian Miles Chong, and it says, Bernie Sanders doesn't think police should have the ability to enforce lawful orders, and that everyone should be free to do whatever they want. And then here, Sanders tweet, the police who shot Jacob Blake in the back 7 times must be fired, arrested, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Congress cannot wait any longer to act forcefully to end the horrific violence against Black Americans at the hands of police. Well, if this guy was white, no one would be rioting right now. I am sorry. It is the reality. This man was not justified in doing what he did, and that is reaching in his car and disobeying police orders. And if it was a white man, no one would care. But because the communists have you so stirred up in your minds, because they have you so crazy with all this racialist nonsense, you think that because someone has a lot of melanin in their skin, that they are able and justified to do whatever they want. This is what is going on today, people. This is the problem. Now, here we have from Virginia, the Virginian pilot. Portsmouth police charges Senator Luis Lucas, NAACP leaders, and other public officials in June Confederate Monument protest. Now, why is this important? Because it is the Democrats who are who are cheering this on, who are putting this whole thing on, who are essentially saying it is fine to act this way. They do not care about law and order. They don't care about your welfare. They only care about their power, and they will take it any way they can. So, with that, you have the media gaslighting the New York Times. Peaceful marches and protest of police shooting of Jacob Blake give way to fires and clashes with law enforcement officers in Kenosha, Wisconsin overnight. Well, that is a framing device to make it sound like give way to fires and whatnot. Like these people aren't going around setting fires and looting. I am going to show you so much today. It's probably going to be a long one, but hang in there with me, because if you want to be truly informed, then you need to do your research on your own, or you need to find people who are willing to give you alternative perspectives, because the people out there in the mainstream media, they are just there to lie to you. So here, battle rages on between National Guard and Black Lives Matter rioters in front of courthouse in Kenosha. This is the reality. Let me explain something to you about tear gas, people, as a former Marine. It is not that bad. It sucks in the moment. It will not kill you unless you have some sort of crazy respiratory illness that's already obstructing your breathing. It wears off quite quickly. It burns like a sunburn. It makes you sneeze and a bunch of snot comes out your nose. And it's a great tactic to disperse people. That's it. If you go to infantry squad leader school in the Marine Corps, guess what? Constantly, the instructors throw tear gas at you all the freaking time. It's part of the training. Here are some more of those riders of peace. So, this is from the Washington Post. Police used tear gas on hundreds of protesters protesting shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So the sub-line here is unleashed tear gas in front of the courthouse and crowd responding by throwing firecrackers and tear gas. And of course, we have this response from Ian Miles Chong. Rioters firing projectiles at police, assaulted cops, and burned down multiple city blocks. Why is the police using tear gas? The headline. And, of course, this guy says, police are bad, okay? It's better than clickbait. Or maybe the media is gaslighting you. Maybe much of the media is trash. Now, Reuters, who happens to be a reputable news organization, is straightforward. Arsonists set several buildings ablaze and torched much of the black business district in a second night of unrest in the city of Kenosha. And it says triggered by the wounding of a black man shot by officers. And from what I understand, he is alive. He's in stable condition, but he will be paralyzed probably for the rest of his life from the waist down. I hate to say it, but I don't feel bad for him. He's already done horrible crimes, and I'm all about forgiveness. But he doesn't seem like a person who is asking or seeking redemption or forgiveness. Here we have the attitude of the protesters. This is important to understand. This is very important to understand. I want you to hear this.
That attempted murder of that citizen was wrong, and I'm all for protests, but you can't be destroying your neighbor's houses and businesses.
Bitch, you're not for protesting if you don't give a fuck.
I was just protesting.
This shit, the fucking value of property has nothing to do with the value of life. If you value this shit, why do you value people you not with us?
So these are just regular citizens, militia people, whatever, trying to protect this property. And this lady here is part of the rioting, and she's saying the value of property has nothing to do with human life. Well, I don't agree with you, because property and goods are what allow human life to perpetuate. And this young man, his argument is essentially going to be that take it up with the cops. Go face the police. These private business owners have nothing to do with your protest. What are you doing? But you see, these people like this young lady here are just absolutely out of their minds. They are hell-bent on vengeance. And that will do nothing. In fact, what it will do is it will create more tension amongst Americans, and there will be blood. Mark my words. I know there already has been, but I mean in retaliation. And I'm going to show you some of that stuff. And you are not creating a good case for yourself. What you are doing is saying, or at least people who are paying attention to this, is saying that we are out of control and cannot be trusted, and you are going to create more racial tension and division based on your actions. This is not how you de-escalate things. And you could say whatever, that they have a right and the police are evil and whatever else. Well, none of you have ever been in that situation, except for maybe if you're out there in law enforcement listening to me. I guarantee you've never been in a real fight in your life. Here's the same area from a different perspective.
Guarding this gas station here right now as people are just rioting through the streets. You can hear street lights, lampposts just being smashed everywhere.
Okay, this I will not show you. But again, I want to show you the kind of people who are out there doing this. This is from Overreactor. This is actually Tim Pool's brother. If you watch this, and I mean, to your own discretion, you may look this up. These people here run over a raccoon. And after they run over the raccoon, I believe this gentleman here, or whomever else, grabs a baseball bat and starts beating it to death. And they're laughing about it as if it's just all fun and games and all good, that they're torturing this animal until its death. This tells you a lot about who these people are in their psychology, in their mental health, in their morality, in their soul and their very spirit. This is a gross display of humanity, people. I'll tell you what, there are two things you can always tell about how good someone is in general. How they treat animals. And I don't mean like if an animal like snaps at you and you like smack it away or whatever, that happens. Like you get scared, you have reflexes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are actually cruel toward animals. Or how people treat waiting staff. If you're with somebody and they're very nasty to a waiter or waitress, I can guarantee you they're probably a nasty person in general. It's just a good metric that I use for most people, and it always seems to be true. So here's some more riding of peace.
What a moment as the two crowds converge here. This massive march that has been going through Kenosha, this crowd that has been gathered outside of the county courthouse this whole entire time. And now...
So what is happening here is they are forming up to attack the courthouse, and that's what the story was earlier. Here's what's actually going on. That you saw that truck walking up there. Riding of peace, people. Arsonist and all.
Say again?
There's families trapped up in those apartments, yo.
They're still trapped?
They can't get out.
I'll see what I can do.
East Mobile, and that's been on fire.
Start going.
Families trapped in a burning apartment. Hopefully, Lord willing, these people made it out alive and without serious injury. Rioting of peace, people. Rioting of peace. The gaslighting is like on par with none other. that is someone's business, their livelihood. I think it's the same dealership. I might show you here in a bit. I have so many clips. So many clips. Here they are pulling down street lamps. See over here, they're stomping on cars. What does this have to do with the police? Do you think that these people that are having their personal property destroyed are not going to get angry about this? You think they think it's okay? You know, people say, well, you know, their insurance will pay for it. Maybe. Maybe. You don't know. You don't know what kind of coverage they have. That's some more arson of peace there. Arson of peace. You can see there are military National Guard units moving in right now. Here we have firefighters coming in. But these are just, you know, peaceful protest. Well, looks like I got a double there. Does happen. No, I don't know what that building was, but it's not much of anything now. All because of a convicted sex offender, or alleged sex offender, one or the other. I don't really care about the details. He was charged, whether he was convicted or not. You know, I am all for innocent until proven guilty, but the man was not complying with police and reached into his vehicle. And if you think that a cop should have died first, then there's something wrong with you.
And that corner building just collapsed under the flames here. Whoa. A woman has just come out of the neighborhood here, yelling at all of the rioters for setting it ablaze. A couple police officers standing guard here, but not a whole lot they can do, just kind of watching it.
This is so sad, people. I want to remind you here. Where's it at? I believe it's that one. New York Times. Peaceful marches. Peaceful marches and protest of police. New York Times. Washington Post. Police used tear gas on hundreds of protesting. It's not really protesting when you're burning down buildings, now, is it? It's not protesting when you're assaulting people. It's not protesting when you're getting in people's faces. We're going to get to some of that. If you get in my face, man, God help me that I do not react. Please. And I mean that. I do not want to react. This stuff is so infuriating. It's so sickening. You know, and the Democrats want to pretend like nothing is going on. Saw a thing with Seth MacFarlane talking about, oh, the Republicans are talking about all this crazy stuff in their RNC. What in the world are they talking about? They're talking about this. This that has been going on all over the United States. Now, I'm not too familiar with Kenosha, but from the way it looks to me, it's not that big of a city. Like, these areas look like they're more dilapidated, not very affluent, all that stuff. But, hey, whatever. You know, look at this white ally right here. There's another white ally. Just trashing this dealership.
I want you to stick like right here. Like let's.
All right, that was the same incident, just different footage. Here you can see the amount of smoke in the streets. What else we got? Here we have looting of peace. Got himself a new mattress. Yeah, those businesses aren't lives, because when that goes out of business and the person that owns it, they obviously are not going to have the funds to feed their family. Here's some more looting of peace. Got themselves a new phones. Reparations.
This poor man got his business caught on fire. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very sorry about that, man.
Yeah, really.
Hey, I have nothing to do with that. I'm trying to stop this shit here. Dude, I'm gonna help this guy. I don't give a fuck if I get beat up.
See, she knows that she might get beat up. Like, if you weren't aware, open your eyes. Share this stuff. I don't care if you have some commie friend that you are afraid is never going to talk to you, or a family member that's never going to talk to you again. I don't care. They need to be woken up. You know, I don't know that I would personally be friends with someone who would participate in anything like this. This is pure evil. It's violence and it's evil. And it's all predicated on some self-righteous victim mentality and narcissistic vengeance.
At
At least this guy got smart and used an extinguisher to fight people off.
Hey, no!
And then he gets assaulted for trying to protect his property. All right, that's enough of that.
Look at them. They just stole a cop car. They just stole a fucking cop car. They just stole a cop car.
Just stole a cop car. You saw them cops running after him. Yeah, let's just go stomp some cars in. So we saw that earlier, that street lamp over there. That's the courthouse. I believe back here is the gas station. Total chaos and anarchy. Here is the Department of Corrections. You know, it's unfortunate because if this keeps going on, what will happen is a lot of these people will be either incarcerated or they will be shot in the street. And that's the last thing that I want. But it is bound to happen. And if the police and the National Guard do not try to get control of these things, you're going to have citizens taking matters into their own hands. There will be vigilante justice. I don't want that. I don't want this kind of violence. I think it's wrong. Here's the corrections building a little bit later. Here's a guy, it's interesting because there's two different clips of this guy, but here's a guy who lives in the area who's really annoyed. And this is what I'm saying. This is what you're going to get, and it's going to get worse.
Are y'all proud of this? This is my fucking town. Y'all proud of this shit?
I'm a reporter.
I don't give a fuck.
Do you want to?
Yeah, keep destroying shit. We gonna run all y'all motherfuckers down. We don't give a fuck.
So he just went around the corner there. And again, this tells you the kind of people you're talking to. If you listen to this girl here and her responses.
That's the fuck's gonna happen.
What y'all don't fucking understand is that people have their lives in these businesses too.
We don't know what. We paid for that.
Yeah, he don't understand. He doesn't understand. What doesn't he understand? That you guys are evil? That you're caught up in a mob frenzy? That you're stupid? That you're burning stuff down and that's cool?
We paid for that.
So what? Just because y'all are too scared to go deal with the cops, y'all just gonna burn down the whole town?
Because you're too scared to deal with the cops, you're going to burn down the whole town.
Y'all got Macy's shit like that. Y'all take your issues up with them. No, it's not. Do you know how many people? A furniture store is the police? A furniture store is the police? A dealership is the police?
I'm talking about the PO office. This is a state-owned building, bro. This ain't
Bust my shit.
Then you need to go. For real. No business for you to be here. That's all.
Hey.
See, someone started hitting his truck and he stood up. You know what happens when you stand up? They stand down every time.
I suggest you leave because they ain't playing right now.
Right.
They gonna fuck this shit up.
Bye.
See, I suggest you leave because they ain't playing. Okay.
Have a nice day.
Tell you, bro.
Go ahead. It's my business. I don't give a fuck. Come on up.
We'll burn your stuff down too. We'll burn it down too.
Come on up. Yeah, and they won't. They probably won't touch it. Because that dude's not willing to put up with it, and that's what I'm talking about. This is in Madison. Madison, Wisconsin. Another one from Madison.
They destroyed that ATM machine.
You can see by the size of this crowd, too. I'm sure there's multiple areas, but you can see by the size of this crowd, too. This is not a lot of people. But as long as the media covers for them, and as long as prosecutors essentially re-release them out in the streets and don't press any charges, then it's going to keep going on. There has to be law and order, people. This is why I'm not an anarchist. There always has to be law and order. Now, I don't know about city police forces. I kind of like the old ways. Sheriff's departments are good. They're far more accountable than city police are. But what I will say is that if instead of saying mantras like defund the police or all pigs are evil, all cops are evil, that kind of thing, if that is the case, then maybe we should be putting more investment into these people and holding them to a higher level of accountability. Unless you like living in, a Mogadishu here in the United States. And I mean, that's like nothing. That's a dozen cops. And that's about, I would say 200 or 300 people right there. And this is what happens. They have to move on because they can't stay there. They can't stay there or they will get crushed. Now, here from Elijah Schaefer, who has been very good over the years of doing on-the-ground reporting, we have this man and his burnt-down building. So here is the day after.
This morning, get up, come down here, and what I see, I was not prepared for. I knew it was going to be a disaster, but I didn't know what a disaster looked like till I saw it.
And I can hear the emotion in what you're saying. I mean, what is the family feeling right now?
It's tough. This is a business that that my parents started 40 years ago, small, out of their garage. It was a small business. Did it just to make a few extra dollars, and eventually it grew. 31 years ago, they bought this building, and so we've been here ever since. They're very upset about it. It's emotionally hurtful. But we didn't do anything to anybody. You know, why did we deserve it?
You don't deserve it, but here you go. Here's a guy, looks like he might be in his 40s, maybe his early 50s. Basically, he's known that place his entire life, and it's burned down. And, yeah, you just probably made a Trump voter right there. All you Trump-hating people out there, you just made a Trump voter.
We own this building, that building, and this building, which are all destroyed. And when we came on scene, it was just carnage. So really, basically, if I had to sum it up in a word, it would be just total carnage. I just don't understand why something like this would happen. It's just it's frustrating. I don't understand why people do these things.
I understand why, which is why I make the videos that I make, so that people are not shocked about what is going to happen, what is going on. These things happen because we have a weak society. See, we went from an honor society to a society that had value in victimhood, in victim status. And it's been a slow creep. And mostly that slow creep is because of communist subversion. And those of you out there, the silent generation, the boomers, even people my generation, Generation X, who have children or whatever, and maybe even some millennials now that are starting to have children, you've been lazy. You've been lazy about teaching your children. And, you know, I feel for those people that, you know, that their circumstances are bad. It's not just black people, though. White people have it bad, too. There are people of other ethnicities that have it bad. I feel for them, especially if they don't have an intact family. When you don't have that, you don't have a good moral basis, you don't have a good, proper mindset, you believe that you are a victim, all that will happen is that you build resentment toward the world.
Our society it's just really disappointing that, you know, what about just being kind to people? You know, I think that's what maybe somebody should take away from today is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and why don't you just show everybody respect? I don't care who you are, what color, race, creed, everybody deserves that. So obviously we'll clean up the damage and move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really quick, sir, do you have maybe a message for the mayor or
the
governor? Anything that you maybe want to send out maybe to law enforcement, anyone?
Well, I think our local leaders have to really take a hard look at what's happening here. You know, this is a destruction of our community, and that costs dollars. People, innocent people, are getting their things destroyed, wrecked, for no reason at all.
Well, here's the reason. Because you have stuff. You're the haves, and they're the have-nots, and they are jealous. Again, this is all the aftermath the next day. Now, there's no guarantee that this is over either. It's just the daytime. And the daytime is often when these people who are out all night rioting, riots of peace, I'm sorry. I know they're peaceful riots. They're sleeping now, and then they'll be up and out later again.
We bought this building about 35 years ago. We're family owned and operated. We live in Kenosha, our Pleasant Prairie, and our daughter and son and granddaughter, we run it. and the people around here, we love them and they love us. So I know it can't be any of the people that we know. And well, I was told that somebody that was in the process of doing some damage to it couldn't even pronounce Kenosha right. So it shows you they're not from here. There may be a few, but I'm not sure. But I just feel real bad because this is our livelihood, and now everything in there is totally gone. We want the people to know that even though our building's gone, we're still doing business. We still have deliveries this week we've got to do. We've got orders that's coming in, and we're going to be answering the phone at a different location. So if anybody still needs anything, we're there to help.
The National Guard was out here last night, correct?
Yes.
So do you feel like there was any inaction on their part? They could have maybe done something?
Well,
What are your thoughts?
I've heard some people come by and say that, you know, I don't know where they were, but they said if they would have been standing on the sidewalks, blocking the properties, instead, you know, and I don't know if they were in the roads, but if they were on the sidewalks, then they would have been protecting our properties. But I don't know what happened.
They were probably told to stand down. That's what happened. They were told to stand down because they didn't want the media scrutiny, because you have places like the New York Times and the Washington Post, who are absolute trash, garbage newspapers, sitting there framing this in a way that these people were just peaceful, and then all of a sudden the police came out and they created all this issue. And it's because if it bleeds, it leads, and we're not going to blame who is actually a part of this. If you recall, I did a video here recently, and I talked about the anti-Semitic attacks in New York City, which is done by Muslims and blacks. And the New York Times would not report on that. They would vaguely gloss over it and say, well, it's not who you think it is. And everything then gets twisted around by the mainstream media. That is CBS, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, etc., gets twisted around so that it's all the white nationalist faults. Somehow, this is the Richard Spencers of the world. Richard Spencer, who just endorsed Joe Biden, by the way. And I keep telling you that he has more in common with the Democrats than he ever did with Trump. Here is some more aftermath. This is outside the courthouse again. Now, what will this result? What will be the results of all this if these things keep going on?
Black Lives Matter. What? What?
Only your life matters.
I know.
Only your life matters.
Black Lives Matter, white boy.
Only.
Black Lives Matter, white boy. Black Lives Matter, cracker man.
All, of course. All lives matter.
Easter matters.
We agree. All lives. All
Easter
lives
matters. Easter matters.
Oh, you're a racist.
He just called him a racist for saying all people matter.
Easter matters.
You don't even know what it is.
Easter matters.
Do what?
Easter matters.
Hey, no.
Easter matters. I ain't on your property yet, faggot.
Move.
Black Lives Matter.
See how they go to intimidate and incite.
We did it without the police.
No, we'd be right here with them. Wow.
Black Lives Matter, white boy. I know you mad. We still in front of your shit though. Hanging out for a second. We'll hang out for a second right here.
Idea. Can you back up?
Black Lives Matter.
So this is this video is this walking protest that's coming from Wisconsin, headed all the way to DC, and they're going through neighborhoods. Now, this was another incident. Hold on. Let's restart this. That supposedly happened last night.
Oh my God, who is that?
Hey.
Y'all get back to the cars. Y'all get in the cars. Go, Sandy, go. Go. Go that way, Sandy.
Yeah, well, once somebody started shooting, right, then they backed down pretty quick. I thought I had it pulled up here, but I guess I didn't. But that car lot that was burnt down, there were shots fired there as well. You can go look it up. Look on Twitter. It's around. But here is the CBS Pittsburgh. Man in protest walk from Milwaukee to Washington, D.C. injured in shooting in Bedford County. Now, there were several of these in local news sources. Police activists shot in Bedford County while on group march from Milwaukee till D.C. And again, it gets into it. Police said gunfire was exchanged and one of the activists was struck. The victim was taken to whatever that Memorial Hospital is in Johnsontown and is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. So he'll be all right. And again, just to show you, right? Local newspapers, it's all over the place. But here is the thing. In the Pittsburgh Gazette, says a person shot suffered a non-life-threatening injury and was taken into the hospital around 12:15 a.m. So there's a protesters in front of your house at 12:15 a.m. in the morning with their cars honking, and they get out of their cars, and all of a sudden someone starts firing at them. Well, if you look at what just happened in Kenosha, if you see what's happening elsewhere, you might be a little sympathetic to the guy in his house. But from what I had saw, the shooting occurred as the marchers were passing through Schnellsburg in rural Bedford County. In the live stream video, at least 2 gunshots can be heard. One of the marchers is seen bleeding and from his face, and said he was shot before other marchers rushed him to the hospital. It says here that gunfire was exchanged between the activist and the residents, and one activist was struck from Trooper Brent Miller. And that's what I wanted to highlight. Gunshot was exchanged. Now, PA is pretty good about gun laws, but they're a weird state, man. Weird state. Where they, much like where I'm at in West Virginia, where they have this weird Democratic and Republican side that's mixed all together. It's not like just the cities and then the rural countryside. It has a good mix of both. But most people in the countryside, which is most of Pennsylvania, by the way, is very conservative. So hopefully we'll see that the person there, if he was justified, does not get in trouble. I just wanted to bring this up. These are planned protests. And these planned protests will likely erupt in violence. They are starting tonight. I mean, right here, it says justice for Jacob Blake. And this dealership had Black Lives Matter there. So you can try and placate to these people all that you want with your signs. They're still going to burn it down, guys. There really is only a few options to this. 1, allow yourself to be slaughtered like a lamb. 2, the police and the National Guard handle things appropriately. That requires the governors and the cities to, the mayors to do their appropriate job. And then, lastly, it's going to come down to personal protection, or actually the 5th thing, roving bands of militias, which might potentially happen. And I really don't want to see that happen. And I know exactly what will happen if that does. They will be demonized by the mainstream media as lynch mobs. It will be all the white man's fault. It will have nothing to do with what is actually going on, which is just, and these aren't, you can see from the pictures, these aren't just black people. They're white people. They're all kinds of people. They're just crazy people who believe in this commie nonsense, and they think that they're justified. They have evil, dark hearts. Here it says, no snitches. Isn't that interesting? No snitches. Take it to the streets. 26. 6 p.m. Volunteer Park. This is in Seattle, Washington. So Seattle's about to protest some more, as if they haven't stopped. And then here we have on the 29th in Montgomery. So these things are well planned and advanced. If you haven't figured out yet that Antifa is organized, they're very organized. Here's more protest. This is in the Portland area. Look at this. That's Mace. These are the Antifa people. Or these are the Antifa people. I'm not even sure. They're fighting each other, though. This is citizens, it looks like, and other citizens. These are skirmishes in the street, people. This is the Civil War. And it's not North versus South. It's city versus rural. It's conservative, hardworking people versus people who are basically ideologically possessed and believe that everything needs to be given to them, who are entitled and feel as if they are victims. I would assume these are the more conservative people there. The fact that this has not devolved into extreme gun violence yet is amazing. Here's Portland. Notice all of the white faces speaking for the black people. Here's in Charlotte. F you, Jesus. Yeah. Here are protesters in Rhode Island. Rhode Island, of all places. This poor kid. The black people used to live there. It's Rhode Island. Like, you guys are 90% white. I don't even think you have any crime in Rhode Island. I might be wrong. There might be some bad places, but I'm pretty sure Providence is a pretty nice place to live. And then they're here harassing these people just eating a meal. I'm not going to play any more of that because I don't need to. Here, I believe this was in D.C. This has been going around, but there are demands for people to essentially raise the Black Lives Matter fist. And if you don't, you will be assaulted. You will be harassed.
Put your mask on now, huh? Motherfucker. Pasty piece of shit.
These people are so tough. God, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Makes me mad. Makes me very angry.
Were both shot in the last 4 days by police. Trafer Pellerin was shot 11 times. Jacob Blake was shot 7.
Jacob Blake was reaching for a weapon as it appeared. We don't know yet. We don't have body cam footage. He was also a convicted or accused sex offender. I think 3rd-degree sexual assault. Let's get the facts straight.
Times in the back in front of his children.
The police were responding to a domestic call.
We look like a parade, sound like a parade. We look like we're having fun. But that's because we've been out here for 80 days.
All right, that's enough of her. But I mean, if I'm the grocer, get out of my store. People need to start hiring private security If the government's not going to do their job, they need to start hiring private security. Then there's this. BLM supporting churches could add this to their ritual. Having a person of color punch you on the way to the altar could be the new mortification of the flesh.
Parishioners attending in person were shocked, as were so many that watched the 11 a.m. Mass live streamed online. In recent months, due to the pandemic, the Philadelphia Archdiocese has relied on streaming Mass for many staying home.
Oh, he talks about this and whatever. That person, if they're in the church, they need to be excommunicated. I'm not a Catholic. I don't really agree with Catholic doctrine, but that's another issue. But either way, it doesn't matter. So here we have Charlotte. Black Lives Matter rioters march down the street chanting "F your Jesus," cover street preachers with silly string videos. This is from the Gateway Pundit. I just showed you a video of this a minute ago. Oh, doesn't want to play. But hey, you guys just saw the video a little bit ago. This is from the Daily Wire. It says, church burned down during anti-police riot in Wisconsin, reporter says. Here again. The Nationalist Review. Could see that they would probably not like this. And then we have this, and I'm starting to see this kind of stuff. People are tweeting this. It says, remember, white people, this is your fault. This is how you build racial animosity, people. You have one group go against one, and then another. And what they're showing here, look at this. That's enough of that. There's just more fights, more attacking. And what they're trying to prove here, the whole point is that, these people can't control themselves. Here's another one, U.S. Rebel. Says, Kenosha before and after diversity. And that's the whole argument, right? This is Kenosha, and then now. And the whole argument is a racialized argument. But here's what I think the real issue is. I think Amos Chong has it right here. This is in his Twitter. It's pinned. It says, when God is dead and the state refuses to enforce law and order, there is only nihilism and anarchy. The broken window theory applied to Christendom. We've uprooted faith all across the world. Lack of firmament, lack of culture. Nothing entices people to do well or to be well. And that's a sad, sad thing. All of this is horrible, guys. Every ounce of it. I don't want to see business burned down. I don't want to see people being assaulted. I don't want to see people so out of their minds that they're out in the streets, not realizing how good they have it. Because trust me, if you live in the U.S., you have it pretty good. And I've traveled the world. I haven't been everywhere, but I've been around. And let me tell you, you got it really, really, really good. As Tim Pool likes to say, we poop in clean water. And, yeah, some people don't even have clean water to drink. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than this is going to intensify. And unless the government steps in and does its job to be the arbiter of violence, unless it, gets a hold of these people, arrests them, holds them, does whatever it must do, then you're going to eventually see sprawling gunfights in the streets. Mark my words. It's going to happen. People will only put up with so much. So, man, I watched all that. It's just horrible. And yeah. Go watch something happy now. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not do any more work for the day. So with all that said, this has been AllMinucOne. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for hanging in there till the end. And, don't let this stuff drive you crazy. Go do something else. Go take a walk. Go get out of your house. Go do something. All right. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Be well.